LSU fan, you should be pretty upset right now. Well, Blake, what in the Rudy Poo world would I be upset at the current moment? The reason you should be upset, it's not because of what happened in football practice today. Actually, I think it was a relatively good one. Should be mad at anything Brian Kelly said in his press conference today. No. What you should probably be very aggravated by, even more than aggravated, what you should be pissed off about is today the NCAA and the Rudy Poo-ness that surrounds the NCAA came down on a ruling on the Connor Stallions sign-stealing investigation. Blake, why in the good God world would I be pissed off about that? Now, maybe if I'm just a general overall fan, maybe I should be upset about it. I mean, but where are you going with this? You know, I'm not old, or I am old enough to remember coming out on this here show and constantly talking about the situations that revolved Will Wade, Ed Orgeron, Les Miles, the lack of institutional control that you were investigated under, all the things that the Sharon Lewis investigation, the Gloria Scott investigation. I remember all of it. And I remember us going into great detail about all the Rudy Poo stuff that kept going on. The NCAA popped you. They accepted a postseason ban that you inflicted on yourself because it was coming either way, whether you like it or not, because you paid Vidal Alexander, or technically, I guess you could say you paid Vidal Alexander. And then LSU gave $20 million back to Our Lady of the Lake in restitution. That's of just today. They're actually giving a total of $50 million in restitution to Our Lady of the Lake. But the reason that you should be mad is because today the only millions of dollars that got thrown around in a sign-stealing scandal that helped Michigan cheat. So they had to pay a $20 million fine. A couple of people got show causes. Connor Stallions wasn't going to get hired anyway. Harbaugh was not coming back to college. And, well, Sharon Moore got an extra game suspended that he doesn't even have to serve this year. He's got to wait until 2026 to get suspended again. Oh, by the way, that's not even the worst of it, because not only did they get popped for recruiting, not only did they get popped for knowingly and actively destroying evidence during the investigation, not only did they get popped for cheating, in which we all know that they cheated. Guys, we know right now for a fact they cheated. It's not all of that really is the hammer that should be coming down, because those are byproducts of what actually happened at the University of Michigan, and this time allegedly. See, I'm old enough to also remember when Matt Weiss of Michigan got caught stealing information and very graphic photos of people from their phones in a federal investigation, taking photos from student athletes' phones that are from that are from a female nature. Very intimate photos. What did he do with those photos? I don't know. But you hit LSU with a lack of institutional control because a batshit crazy woman ran out there and said, oh, well, I know about cover-ups, when we all know that you were the ones that were fabricating stuff because people on staff didn't want to have sex with you, allegedly. Allegedly. That's all alleged. I don't know if it's true. Allegedly. But you get out into a situation where the NCAA had a choice and a chance to do the right thing. Michigan should face a postseason ban. They should have faced a postseason ban. And the NCAA came out today and said, well, it's not really fair to the student athletes because those people that committed those crimes are no longer there. That's like saying your local town shouldn't arrest you for murder because you no longer live there. Now, it's a little bit egregious. Murder is murder. But you get my point. I get to a place in time where I say, LSU didn't get hit with that same favoritism as Michigan. They're out there partying because all they got to do is spend $20 million. This is over. Guys, they cheated. They cheated. Well, Blake, everybody cheats. Guys, everybody does a lot of things. But the people that get caught should pay the penance. $20 million isn't enough for me. I don't even care about a fine. Really, I want them to have a postseason ban. And quite honestly, I'm going to be real with you. The 2023 season, you can call it what it is. You can say that they won it on the field, and that's fine by me because they did win it on the field. But did they belong in the playoffs knowingly cheating? Are you going to be able to convince me that there weren't backdoor channels in 2023 that Michigan didn't use with Connor Stallions, and Connor Stallions still didn't have contacts with sign stealing? You're going to try to sit here and convince me. Here's the thing that I also ask for. What about Les Miles' vacated wins? Now, a lot of you don't like Les, and LSU didn't give him back his vacated wins. But how are you, as an NCAA body, going to take away Les Miles' vacated wins, not give them, or not take them from Michigan? You know, the man technically could be eligible for the Hall of Fame, but you vacated his wins. Les Miles is a lot of things, but he never got a day in court. He had allegations thrown his way. Where's the day in court that he did all of those things? You know, there's a fine line that we play here. A very fine line. And if you're going to ask me, am I pissed off? Yeah, I'm pissed. I'm pretty pissed off. You know what's crazy is Will Wade got hit for less. Far less did Will Wade get hit. Or let me back up. Will Wade got hit with more by the NCAA because of not cooperating with the NCAA more than Connor Stallions when we actually have him cheating. Make it make sense. So if you're an LSU fan and you see the stuff going down with Michigan, you say to the NCAA, how in the hell 2 years ago are you going to, 3 years ago, are you going to hit us with all the shit that you hit us with? And you're going to say, well, it's not fair to the student athletes. Dog, it wasn't fair to the student athletes when LSU had them with Will Wade. It wasn't fair to the football program because of Les Miles' actions. How is that even relative? They hit you with a lack, or they try to hit you with a lack of institutional control. We need a true governing body that can dictate these things. If there's something that we need legislation on more than anything, we need to be able to be in a situation where there's parties involved that can actually govern without getting sued and losing. Guys, you need enforcement in sports. I know that, oh, well, Blake's talking about the Cobs. You need the Cobs. You need governance in this sport for it to run effectively. Yes, you do. Look what's happened the last couple of years when you haven't had it. This is bullshit. It's grade A, class A bullshit. And the God's honest truth is we can talk about whatever we want to. You can make any excuse you want to. They cheated. They cheated. They got caught. You cheat on your significant other and they don't say, oh, well, how about this? Pay me a fine and all is well and we'll stay together. It's so dumb. It's so dumb. God forbid the NCAA ever investigate LSU again over anything ever again. I will go stupid. I will blast them every single day, and I will tag Charlie Baker's no good having ass in it because this is bullshit. I am through with them. I am done. Matt Weiss investigation, which I don't know if a lot of you knew, but you need to familiarize yourself with it. Guys, he was illegally hacking in to people's laptops and phones, taking their intimate photos out of their laptops and phones and taking them and doing God knows what with them. That was all going on during the Connor Stallion stuff too. And you mean to tell me doing something like that, taking intimate photos of female athletes is not a big deal? The hammer should come down if he's found guilty. I mean, what are we doing? What are we doing? Let me tell you this right now, and I mean this from the bottom of my heart. Let one of you Rudy Poos do something like that to my daughter. You will get, never mind, I'm gonna hold off. It will be the worst decision of your life if you ever do something that stupid. It will be the worst day of your godforsaken life if that ever happens. Guys, what are we doing? Let me ask this question. As a father of a daughter, please, NCAA, tell me how you have come out there and protected women at all. Whether it's somebody swimming and winning a national title, having a biological male changed in their locker room, and then now with the Matt White-Weiss investigation, you hit them for the Connor Stallion stuff, but you should have waited for a ruling. You should have hit them and said, which they didn't say today, you should have said, and they're going to try to make this the big old thing. Everything's done after today. Just newsflash. How are you out here protecting women? I'm not trying to push my religion on you or my faith upon you, but the good book that I read talks about protecting women. And if you are a man, your number one job, if you have a sister, a mom, a wife, a daughter, is you protect them with your outright life. Will Wade used his own bank account to pay a player. He used his own bank account. My God. Now, is it Will Wade? Is it Will Wade? Let me say it like this. Did Will Wade do something absolutely stupid? Yes. Was he dumb in what he did? Yes, he was. You can't pay players from your own bank account. Sorry, you can't. It was stupid when it happened. But you're going to now have to come out here and tell me how you're protecting women. No postseason ban. They cheated. The NCAA came out with a statement today and said, and I quote, they had no regard for the rules. Zero regard. Harbaugh didn't care as long as they were winning. Meanwhile, you had someone on staff hacking phones and laptops, allegedly, and taking intimate photos of female athletes and doing God knows what with them. I'm just telling you, man, you can sit on whatever fence and side of the fence that you want to sit on, but you are never going to come up in this show and try to defend what they're doing to women. Because if you do, you are a freaking Rudy Poo. They're not protecting them. They're not. Y'all let a governor who had one of the worst track records in the country take over the NCAA, and you thought that he wouldn't go in a political leaning of his choice. You're an idiot for ever allowing that to happen. Yeah, I'm pissed. I'm pissed. Because we all went through a postseason ban. We all went through scholarship reductions. We all had to see LSU fall and rebuild itself. For what? Because we paid Vidal Alexander and Will Wade paid somebody out of his bank account while he was at another school? That's what you're after? How dare you? How dare you? Losers. All right. It's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. Stupidest thing I've ever heard. How dare they? Losers. It's loser mentality. It's a loser mentality. And I be damned. Do that to a Ruffino that's a woman. I guarantee you, you're gonna regret it. You're going to regret it. God, it makes my blood boil. God, it pisses me off. Fucking losers. What else should we have expected? Shame on those protecting them. Shame on you. Shame on you. Look somebody in the face who gives a damn and then come at me and talk to me. How about that? Losers, man. How dare you? All right. You're not here for my rant. Brian Kelly met with the media today. We'll talk about some of the things that he did. He talked about Garrett Nussmeier on a quote-unquote pitch count. We'll talk about that. He's been 5 straight days. They're letting him rest a little. Garrett did throw a lot today. I say a lot. He did throw today. Michael Van Buren, though, I got to say, did Michael Van Buren make a couple statements this week? We'll talk about that as well. We'll get to the O-line comment. We'll talk about Patrick Payton, the Clemson prep that Brian Kelly mentioned on. We'll give you observations and opinions. Also, I missed the biggest thing. We got a practice report that we got to get to. Day 14 out there on the Ponderosa today was inside. A lot of things that I think that we can take away from what was more of a chill day, but a lot of things that LSU worked on, some special teams we need to get to as well here. All right. We got some comments in here. Billy says total losers, pathetic. Yeah, I mean, listen, man, I just don't get it, bro. Guys, listen to me. The statement of being political, I am not being political. You can talk about the locker room incident, which I think is egregious. You can say, well, Blake, you making that stance is political. Fine, I really don't care. But the bottom line remains is this man got fired and is being investigated because they know for a fact they had evidence and indicted the man with that evidence for this to go to court that he was taking intimate photos of female athletes. And we're getting popped because Will Wade was so dumb, so stupid, and paid a player out of his own bank account. Him and his wife's joint bank account. How dumb. Vidal Alexander's dad had a no-show pay job. The mob's been doing that to unions for years. And it's the least thing that the federal government pops them on is no-show jobs. They don't even hit them on it. They don't even hit them on it. So, wow. Let's talk football. There's no accountability when you reach a certain higher point in life. Ask Epstein. Oh, wait. Yeah, we'll get to football, but here's the thing, man. Y'all aren't going to come on here and tell me what I can and can't talk about. It's a big deal, and we're going to treat it as a big deal. Keith says, I totally agree with you. No punishment for what they did. It is no punishment. It's zero punishment. Ben Paris says, tell him, Blake, there is nothing but facts. It is nothing but facts because you all have daughters, granddaughters, some of you, wives. It's so egregious. It's so egregious. I don't get it. What is women supposed to do? Say, hey, I'm not going to compete because they're putting a man in there. I mean, it's wild. All right, let's get to it here. If you do, though, now that they don't have a postseason ban, think Michigan's going to win the Big Ten or the national title, go over to FanDuel, use that promo code. No, we don't have a promo code there. Excuse me. Go over to FanDuel right now. Go on FanDuel, place your bets. You know, Nussmeier's plus 900 to win the Heisman, LSU plus 1,100 to win the SEC. Do you believe that they're going to win it? You can always go over to our good friends over at FanDuel and place that bet today. If you have a gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER or go to FanDuel.com/RG. That's FanDuel.com/RG if you need assistance in that matter. Every episode, and even the one that we did today with David Pollack. Yes, you heard that correct. David Pollack, who was on the show earlier today, also always brought to you by our good friends over at FanDuel. All right. FanDuel has crashed. I didn't know about that, but it won't be down long. I promise you that. FanDuel till we die. Hold on. No, it's open. Pressure, I just got on it. Somebody just said in the comments, FanDuel crashed. I'm on it right now. That was a great episode. It was with David Pollock. Go over there on YouTube after this and go see it. All right. Everybody do us a favor. Hit the like and share. Share to all those groups if you're on Facebook and to all those social media pages. You're watching us, listening to us on YouTube. Like, subscribe, notification bell wherever you listen to podcasts. Rate, review, and subscribe. Let me get to a quick break. As everybody knows, every one of these episodes are brought to you by our good friends over at FanDuel. Let's take a quick break, though. We come back. We break down these practice reports next. Stay with us.
He will sell your house and find you a new. Well, Tyler's the man. He's here for you. If you want to buy or sell, well, it's not too late. Dial 955-0008. Just call 955-0008. Y'all call Tyler. He'll shoot you straight.
Hey, guys, I want to tell you about our good friends over at Red Stick Financial. They're your local residential mortgage broker located right here in the heart of Baton Rouge, Louisiana. At Red Stick Financial, they find the bank that works for your particular set of needs to purchase the home of your dreams or refinance the current one. They truly are your partners in this process, and they pride themselves in helping individuals and families with one simple goal in mind, and that is to make home financing approachable, attainable, and stress-free. They are licensed in all Louisiana, Texas, and Mississippi. So from Amarillo to Meridian and everything in between, they have you covered. Red Stick Financial brings you creative, customized solutions, and they don't believe in the one-size-fits-all when it comes to loans. They even have special options for mobile and manufactured homes located in a flood zone and stated income financing for those of us who are self-employed borrowers. If you or someone you know is looking to buy a home, refinance an existing mortgage, or simply want to know what options are out there for your future, give Red Stick Financial a call today at 225-407-9250. That's 225-407-9250. Or check them out online at redstickfinancial.com. That's redstickfinancial.com. Before you purchase the home of your dreams or you go and do that refinance, you need to go local. Go Red Stick. We're back. David says, Blake, where's the Pollock interview? It's on YouTube. Yep, on YouTube. You can go over to YouTube after this episode, and you can go watch it. It was really good. We talked a lot about the SEC, talked a lot about LSU, talked about all the teams at the top of the SEC. And listen, I don't agree with him, but Pollock made an interesting case for Texas A&M. So go over there and listen to it. Absolutely fantastic stuff. Day 14 of LSU football practice was among us today. Now, you know that all of these practice reports are brought to you by our good friends over at FanDuel. Go over to FanDuel today to place all your bets, the number one sports book inside the state of Louisiana and of all of the country. But day 14 was upon us, and we went out there, and in today I had expected we were kind of joking with I was joking with some members of the media before we went in there. It's like, bro, they're not going to have pads on. We're indoors all day. But what are they going to be able to get done? This being day 5 straight, per Brian Kelly, of these guys getting after it and going after it on the Ponderosa. So last 2 days in full pads. We were not out there to see it. A couple of things. We heard some things on Wednesday. I did hear, some chatter while I was at practice today that maybe yesterday didn't go as they would have liked. Apparently, the guys looked really tired after, going into day 4 full pads. And what did Brian Kelly say? 2.5-hour practice and heat yesterday trying to get ready for this game against Clemson. So they went through a walkthrough today. I'm not going to break down or talk about the other 2 days that we weren't there. Let's talk about the day that we did have today. Whit Weeks, instantly noticeable, was on the bike today. Brian Kelly said we're just not allowing Whit Weeks to go 5 straight days with that high of a workload coming off of an injury, and we decided not to put him out there. It is that. Whit Weeks didn't look very happy not being out at practice, for what it's worth. Did not have a limp, Did not do, I mean, he was on the bike for a little bit and was around Blake Baker the rest of the time. Was jumping up and down when plays were being made. Looked completely fine. But Brian Kelly talked about today being a workload day for a lot of these guys. And I think for a lot of these guys, the workload are for the starters, meaning Whit Weeks and Garrett Nussmeier, guys, they're going to start regardless. No matter what happens, number 13 and number 40 are going to be your starting middle backer and quarterback. Why would you do it? Now, Garrett Nussmeier was managed today. And what do I mean by managed? He had a pitch count. Brian Kelly said this will be the 5th day in a row that he's throwing a lot. We told him, no, you're not really today. There was a beginning part of practice during the walkthrough period when they were scripting things versus Clemson. At least that's how I would anticipate it. Garrett Nussmeier was in there. When they went 11-on-11 versus the twos, Michael Van Buren went in there at the end of practice. Garrett Nussmeier did come in for a couple of things and a couple of handoffs just to continue to get that connection down with Caden Durham. Other than that, on passing plays, he was coming out. They were putting him on a pitch count. Brian Kelly made the justification, guys, it's a workload thing. We're just not going to continue to push guys when we've been out there as much as we have. Doesn't bother me. We see it happen in the NFL literally all the time. Just to add on to that, I remember listening to a story from Tom Brady like 2 years ago. And later in his career, Belichick telling him not that they want to go. He wants to put Brady, when he gets in the playoffs, in a little bit of a pitch count when he's throwing the ball as much as he had been. Well, I think they got to the playoffs and a situation happened where Brady cut his hand open. I think some of y'all remember this. Regardless of that, then Brady started taking pitch counts on Fridays and Thursdays and Fridays where things were literally just a walkthrough. I say that to say that this doesn't bother me at all. I know people will have their opinions on it. It really doesn't bother me. I don't think Garrett or Whit Weeks not being there today impacts them negatively or positively, other than I do think it is somewhat of a positive. Let them get some rest. Guys, they'll be out there tomorrow for a scrimmage, and they'll be going after it, so what does it really matter? But when we got out there today, LSU was going through a run game walkthrough in a formation that seemed like what they would see versus Clemson. Brian Kelly then confirmed some of that. Now, he didn't confirm what periods there were, but they were already going through a walkthrough in a run game period, 11 versus 11s. The guys on the defense were the twos, or AKA scout team. A couple of guys had some uniforms on for the numbers that Clemson, I guess, would wear. I mean, I don't understand why anybody else would put on an orange jersey that has 47 that would implement Sammy Brown for Clemson. Regardless of that, they went through some walkthroughs. Went through a lot of pistol. In the pistol, they would go right and left zone. Guys, it was blocked perfectly. I mean, they're going through a walkthrough, no issues, and looked good doing it through a walkthrough. There was a couple of things that stood out to me in walkthrough run game period. For the first time this camp, and I mean for the very first time this camp, the very first time at this camp, we have saw LSU run counter. Now, if you don't know what counter is, it's when you have the left guard and left tackle pulling. You normally will have a tight end on the opposite side of where you're pulling, and he would either come across. Just depends on what you're doing. They did run counter today with a read principle. In the walkthrough, the edge never came down. Now, Garrett would give the ball on this counter and then take a ball from another coach, or a player would throw him a ball, and he would give the ball to Caden Durham, but he would still act like he would pull and ran it and was picking up yardage. It's what they do in all of them, but regardless of that, they ran a lot of counter. They ran it right. They ran it left. They continue to do it. The reason I thought it was significant was in the counter runs that you had today and walkthrough, that for the last couple of years of Alex Atkins being at Florida State has been a staple of what they do in the run game. We should all know we saw it for 2 years when we played Florida State. Now, is that more of a Mike Norvell principle? Because Mike Norvell did that a lot at Memphis before he went to Florida State, or is that an Alex Atkins principle? I don't know. Regardless of whose principle it is, they ran it, and at least you're starting to mix this up. There was also a play that they ran that, from the media's point of view, that started a conversation between me and 3 other media members, was this. The other play that they tried to run was an inside trap where they didn't block the defensive tackle, and Donovan Green comes down and traps the defensive tackle. So Donovan Green's lined up as an H-back. They run a trap. Nobody blocks a defensive tackle, and Donovan Green comes down the line of scrimmage to then hit the defensive tackle. I have never seen – let me not say I've never seen. Traps with interior defensive linemen don't work. They don't work. I don't know why they were trying to run it in a walkthrough. You can do it because it'll be effective because the defensive tackle's not coming off the ball. But either they messed up, meaning the offensive line messed up and let the wrong guy through, or they're trying to run a trap right up the middle and you're not blocking the defensive tackle, which in a game versus Clemson will be Peter Woods. Please, dear God, don't run that. It's not going to work. It will not work. Peter Woods will get to Caden Durham in the backfield. It's not going to work. Donovan Green does not have enough time to get there unless you put him literally behind the guard, and they're going to know something's up. Don't run it. When we talk about scheme, and we talk about scheme in the run game, this is what I talk about with stuff that I have no idea what we're doing. A trap to an interior defensive tackle, I've barely seen it done. Barely seen it done. And the only time that I've ever seen it really done, we used to run a play where a guard would pull, and we would let the backside defensive tackle go, and then you have to trap the defensive tackle if you're the pulling guard. I think that creates way too much traffic in the interior. Way too much traffic for a running back. I just don't understand it. I don't get it. I don't believe in an inside. You could call it trap. You could call it wham. You can, whatever you want to call. I don't believe in it. If you're going to run a trap, you need to go and trap the edge or the guy on the end line of scrimmage so you can get a cutback. Doing it to an interior defensive tackle, I think is not smart. Now, we're going to get to Brian Kelly later and some of his comments about the O-line. I hope that this O-line gets some push, and you might need to be creative in the run game. I thought against USC in week 1 a year ago, you got away from the counter way too early. You got away from the counter really all year. Guys, here's the truth. Run yards per play when LSU ran the counter, 6.9 yards per carry. Want to know the numbers for the other ones? No, you don't, because it's abysmal. If that's the best thing that you do, then do it. But it was really good to see that they were mixing it up, and I don't mind that at all. All right, we go one-on-ones. I just see that I missed something inside the practice report here for you guys that are on the message board. Go to the message board, by the way, ayssnetwork.com. I missed something in there. I'll have to go back through my notes and get it. But one-on-ones, receivers versus DBs. Let me take a pause right here for just a second. Offensive line, defensive line, a little bit of more walkthrough-ish. Wide receivers and DBs did not do that. It was full guns blazing out wide because, of course, it is. You got a lot of competition there, and you need to continue to have timing when you're throwing the football around. But a fade route to Xavier Thomas on the far right boundary falls incomplete as Ashton Stamps is in coverage. I was having this conversation with Bryce Kuhn today. Ashton Stamps just continues to show up. We'll see as next week progresses and we start getting quote-unquote starters, and maybe they still rotate. Brian Kelly says, guys, we're still rotating 6 DBs because everybody keeps making plays and we got to figure this out. All right, sounds good. Ashton Stamps continues to show up. Had a bad day a couple days ago, but I thought really looked good. Trey Green on a slant route on A.J. Halsey is gone for a touchdown. I have no idea what A.J. Halsey is supposed to do there. They're telling him to line 10 yards off the line of scrimmage. They're at the 15, 20-yard line or so, 25-yard line, It goes for 6. I don't know what he's supposed to do there. Destin Hill on an in route on DJ Pickett. I put Toviano. That was supposed to be for the next one. I see I put Toviano twice. But Hill on an in route on DJ Pickett that goes for 6. Parker on an out route on Jackson that goes for a touchdown. Right inside fade on Javian Toviano that goes for a touchdown. Brown on a fade on the far right boundary on Mansour Delane, caught in the end zone, diving, touchdown, bang. Really good throw by Garrett, really good catch by Barryon Brown. Wright on an inside fade, Phillip Wright on an inside fade goes for 6 as he's on Aiden Andy. Now let's start right there. You have a fade that goes out of bounds, a fade Aaron Anderson that goes out on the 3 on Cooley. Then you have an in route for a touchdown. You have an out route for a touchdown, an inside fade for a touchdown, a fade for a touchdown, and another fade for a touchdown. 6 out of 7 that you had there go for TDs. Guys, that does not alarm me with the corners at the current moment. I just think that you got some really speedy guys out there that can really run at receiver. You're talking about Wright, Phillip Wright, who I think's done a really good job. You're talking about Watkins that's out there. Chris Hilton was not out there today. He was graduating along with Jordan Gilbert. And you have Parker, who is, I say he's fast, but he's more quicker than fast, but that can move too. Had a lot of really good throws by Garrett in this period. I mean, him and Michael Van Buren. Van Buren did come in and threw the inside fade route to Aiden Andy that was on point. But Garrett had a really good period. And I thought the last time that we saw them not in pads, the Monday of one-on-ones, Garrett just absolutely obliterated them. He did it today. He absolutely did it today. Guys, that period's going to be won by the offense majority of the time. When it's not, then it's a bad thing. Guys, the defense, if this is the worst period that they've had of the day, fine. Or the season or the fall camp, fine. I mean, receivers were out there trying to make plays. Here's the God's honest truth. I think you have more competition right now. Here's the real truth about LSU football right now. There's 3 position groups that you have the most competition. Wide receiver, corner, and defensive line, mainly at edge. The whole D-line. They're rotating so many guys in there competing for who can play and who can start. It's insane. Guys, Phillip Wright, the freshman out of Destrehan, guys, he can play. He can play. He continues to make plays. I think Teron Francis is going to be really good. I see Barryon Brown and Garrett Nussmeier getting a connection, and they've looked good. Guys, Barryon Brown and Garrett Nussmeier have looked really good this week. Very good. We've seen them connect on a lot of things. I love that connection is taking hold. I thought that Garrett had more of a connection with Nick Anderson in the very beginning, but this past entire week, whether it be something I was told on Wednesday when we weren't there about Barryon Brown catching a fade, diving for it, catching it, and coming down in the red zone, really the 10-yard line is what I was told. Whether it was Tuesday where we were out there and he caught a fade route on Ashton Stamps, I think it was Ashton Stamps. Catching a fade route on Ashton Stamps in the end zone, getting a foot in, bang, touchdown. Right? I mean, they've done some really good things together this week. Does that continue? Because Chris Hilton and Barryon Brown are going to be out there a lot together. And there very well could be a situation where a lot of times what you see in some various or formation is Aaron Anderson in the slot, but Barryon Brown and Chris Hilton at receiver. And quite honestly, you better bail out. And if I'm LSU, I'm going to try to run the football in that because everybody's going to bail out. Get Trey'Dez Green's big ass in there, and if they cover it deep, just keep dumping it down. Keep getting 8 yards because as soon as you keep doing that, they're going to get tired of it. They're going to squat once, and either Barryon Brown or Chris Hilton's going for 7. Guys, you have the ability at receiver, if Garrett can be protected, to do some serious shit. They had a really good period today. All right, Michael Van Buren in. They go to the goal line, more like the 10 to 15. Trey'Dez Green on Harold Perkins, an inside fade route to the right. Perk just knew he got beat. I mean, it's just a really good route, man. Really, really good route. about 2/4 of the way through, Perk knew it was over. Perk knew it was over. Really good route, really good catch by Trey'Dez Green. A fade route by Aaron Anderson is broken up by Deshaun Spears. Guys, if Deshaun Spears turns his head a quarter sooner, it's getting picked. Just really damn good coverage. I tell you what, man, Deshaun Spears has made a lot of plays this fall camp. More than I ever remember a safety making in a fall camp at a free safety style role. He just can cover. I don't know what he's like in run support. It does kind of bother me a little bit, but when number 10 knows what's coming or has a good idea and is set up in the right position, guys, Deshaun Spears can play. Really good play by him there on the inside fade route to Aaron Anderson. Destin Hill on a slant on DJ Pickett goes for 7. Not sure a lot what DJ's supposed to do there, but nevertheless, we're there. Then turn right around the both of them. Destin Hill with an out route goes for a touchdown. So back-to-back plays where I thought Destin Hill, man, ran a really good route. When Destin Hill knows what he's supposed to do, he can be dangerous too. He's had a decent camp. Hit Pickett with it fake inside, then went outside at the goal line, and just Pickett bit on the inside move, and Michael Van Buren made a really, really, really good throw. So a touchdown and back-to-back plays. 3 of the first 4 throws were touchdowns to Destin Hill for 2, Trey'Dez Green for 1. Barry Brown on a fade on the far right hash gets caught, tippy-toe with both feet along the right pylon, near side pylon, closest pylon. But a fade route that Barry Brown over the shoulder is able to get 2 feet in for a touchdown. Barryon's made some plays, man, and it's just a fact. It's just a fact. So really, really good throw, really, really good catch there as well. P.J. Woodland on a out route to Tyron Francis is broken up. P.J. Woodland continues to make plays too, man. Better be careful. Better be careful. Right on the inside fade on the far inside slot. Goes for a touchdown right on the play on Aiden Anding, and the one-on-one period was over. Look, Michael Van Buren, here's just the truth. Michael Van Buren and Garrett Nussmeier made some really good throws. I'm going to stop here for just a second. We're going to talk about this in observations and opinions. And observations and opinions, we'll talk because we're almost done with this practice report in just a moment here. So I'll just mention this. I think it's been a really good week for not only Garrett, and I think Garrett's had a fantastic week for what it's worth. I think Michael Van Buren had his best week too, really. During the spring, and let's just say a third of the way through fall camp, I don't think Michael Van Buren had good camps. I don't think he had really good days, to be real with you. I know that I know things were slow for him. If he keeps putting weeks together like he's been doing this past, let's just say 7 days, I think Michael Van Buren can do some good stuff. I think ever since the Garrett Nussmeier knee fiasco last Wednesday, ever since that happened, to be real with you, I think Michael Van Buren has stepped his game up with some of these throws. I'm not saying he was lollygagging around before Garrett got hurt, but he has looked very sharp. He's made some really good throws, and today we got to see him with the ones. And guys, I got to be real with you. He looked sharp. He looked good. You go out there in pads, the next time we're out there, if Van Buren is doing that same kind of stuff again, can he do that again? Let's see when them pads come on in camp if he can continue to do that. But here's the thing that I will give him. The throws he were making were pretty on point. I mean, defender can't get him. The out route to Destin Hill, was ridiculous. DJ tried to get his hand in there. It was just, guys, literally the out route was thrown, and literally it stuck from my vantage point on the catch when he's going to the out route. It was a perfect throw Destin Hill, he put it right in his chest. I mean, you couldn't have had a better throw. I get it's from the 15-yard line. The problem with that, though, guys, is even though if it's 15 yards, I'm accounting 9 to 10 more, even more than that, because he's throwing an out route, and he's got to really put more zip on it to get that complete on the line. And I thought that he did. I thought he had a really, really good throw. Really, really good throw. All right. I put this as your starting defense today. I said we really weren't going to run through this for the last couple of weeks, and we haven't. Here's what I'd say. I still don't think you have a starting defensive line. I think they're going to rotate when situations dictate it. Your defensive line today for the first overall play in 11-on-11 was Relaford, McKinley, Guillory, Pyburn. Guillory and Bernard Gooden flipped every play that I saw, or every other play that I saw. I think this is your base. Right? Like this is your base. Perkins is at star, clearly. And you had West Weeks, and you had either Keys, Singleton, or Breaker that rotated in as the other linebacker. Singleton got a lot of reps. Keys got a lot of reps with Witt being out. Breaker came in on third down situations, I think because of speed. So Witt's normally going to be there, and when West goes out, somebody else is coming in. I'm assuming another DB to some extent, and Perkins plays as your other backer, really. So let me explain that again. When LSU goes to their dime package or nickel package, what I've seen them do is get Perkins more shaded to either the right or left, kind of behind a guard to the strong side. And when they did that, West Weeks would come out and another DB would come in. They're just mixing up in a lot of different ways. It's going to be interesting to see how Blake Baker does some of this stuff. Your corners, or DBs, rather. Stamps on the far right boundary. So if you're the offense, far right boundary. The defense was far left was Mansour Delane. The safeties, A.J. Halsey. Remember that in observations and opinions. I think we can pretty much put now. A.J. Halsey's your starting strong safety. I mean, he hadn't come out yet. And TaMarcus Cooley. Every third or fourth rep, Jashawn Spears would come in for TaMarcus Cooley. See how that plays, right? Let's see how that plays. But I think those are going to be your three safeties. They're just still rotating a little bit, but on these early downs, I fully expect Pyburn and Relaford to be your guys. I think on certain pass downs and situations, Patrick Payton's going to find his way on the field. I would love for Patrick Payton to get on the field a little bit more, but he hadn't beaten out Relaford Pyburn yet in these every down situations. All right, they did some punts. What I'd say is we're going to talk about this a lot, so I'm going to be a little brief on this. They did some walkthrough periods, offense, after this brief 11-on-11. Like, let me back up. The 11-on-11 and the starting defense today, they did walkthroughs. I should have put that up better. After the little walkthrough 11-on-11 with the offense, while the other side was doing one-on-ones, they did some other special team stuff. The offense was working on screens, running back and wide receiver screens on one side, and then they were doing some punt. I do not believe that Ahmad Anan, the special teams analyst that you brought in, I don't think that you have had an organized special teams look more than you've had right now with him. They were working on punt return. In the punt return, the return guys had to see how many balls that they could catch in the air. I think Xavier Thomas had like 6 or 7 balls in his arms at once trying to catch another one. he caught the 7th and then like dropped all the rest of them because he just couldn't hold on to him any longer. But they're really working hard on special teams. The most bullish thing that I might have right now is well, let me not say that because I hadn't seen it. Seen it. I've seen them working on it. I haven't seen it. Let me say this. I am pretty bullish. I feel confident that they're going to do some good things on punt return. They were going after punts today. Philip Wright was one of the guys that blocked a punt. He was getting to it every time. I wonder if they put Philip Wright on the field to try to block a punt or two because he's got the speed and it looks like he had the athleticism to get to the punter. You just worry about with a freshman, if you don't get there, do you know not to hit him? But Philip Wright doing some punt blocking, got a couple of punts blocked. In that, I would say that I just like what I see that Ahmad Anand's doing. We need special teams to be in these close games. Can you imagine? Let me say it like this. Could you imagine if this defense gets a stop against Alabama and let's say you're down 7-0 and you go for a punt and you block it and you get the ball inside your own 20 for crying out loud? Guys, special teams play such a massive factor that we just overlook. And quite honestly, we've been ass in special teams. I don't think we were good in special teams overall last year. I think what gets glossed over is we had some big kick returns and punt returns and stuff like that. That was great. But, guys, when games were on the line from a kicking game standpoint, you were ass. You were ass in critical situations. So the bottom line for me remains I just feel like that I feel pretty bullish that you're going to be a lot better on special teams. Another thing, I think this Chadwick kid that came in from Middle Tennessee State, the transfer punter, this kid can really boot it, man. I mean, this has been the last couple of days that now he doesn't have any pressure. He's not in conditions. You know, does he punt better in practice? But, guys, I mean, he is kicking the outright shit out of it. Had a lot of hang time today. I hope that your punt game can get a lot better. Because, guys, that was another area you were so horrible in a year ago. You got to be able to flip the field, man. You got to be able to flip the field. We need him to be big. Need him to be big. So they did some screen work with the offense and some punt stuff, doing a lot of setup block stuff for the return guy. I am very intrigued to see who goes back there and returns punts. Very intrigued. I think it's going to be really interesting. I see Chris Lomax in the chat. He's right. Y'all hit the like button. Yes, hit the like button because we're almost done here with this, and we'll get to observations and opinions. 11-11. Guys, more of a walkthrough kind of. They weren't really going complete full speed, kind of two-quarter speed. But you had an inside run for Caden Durham for 8. Inside zone run for Caden Durham for 7. Again, just basically a walkthrough against the twos. Did look like that they were going in some form of team period of what we would see Clemson do. The stand-up edge, TJ Parker, the way that they shaded a nose and would move over, I think they were prepping really in this 11-11 team, ones versus twos for Clemson. 12 personnel, a fade route to Barry and Brown for a touchdown by Garrett Nussmeier. Then they went 13 personnel, play action, deep drag by Donovan Green for a touchdown. Really just a walkthrough, nothing really serious. I do think it's interesting that they went under center and from a huddle in the start of this 11-11 period. Now, I want to bring this up. A couple of things I want to bring up. They were blaring music where you couldn't hear. I mean, guys, we were in there and you could not talk to the person next to you. They're pumping in crowd noise. They went from a huddle. I've seen LSU go more out of a huddle this year than I've ever seen them go out of a huddle before. I have no idea, no clue whatsoever. None. I have no clue whatsoever if LSU's ever going to go out of a huddle in a game. I've seen them go in more huddle-like situations now than I've ever seen in my entire life. Ever. It is wild. I don't know if they're going to implement that, but that's something that stood out to me. They backed it up to the 20 and backed it to the 20 and then flipped around. Caden Durham backed it up, excuse me. They didn't turn around yet. Caden Durham from the 20-yard line breaks one loose, goes for 20 again, 2/3 quarter speed, walk through, not going full speed. Aaron Anderson in an in route that gets dropped. Michael Van Buren will come in. He throw an in route to Bauer Sharp against DJ Pickett, which, let me back up. When Van Buren went in, they started going live. Like, they started hitting. I don't know why, but they did. In route for Sharp, in route in the end zone for Sharp for a touchdown on Pickett. Fade route, Barryon, who also caught it in the end zone and fell down. I couldn't see who the DB was, but a fade route that goes for a touchdown. Couldn't tell the DB. Looked like 23 or 24 maybe. I couldn't tell. Michael Van Buren in the flat to unguarded Trey'Dez Green goes for a touchdown. Yes, he caught it and ran. Michael Van Buren slant to Parker was dropped, and Xavion Thomas on an in route TD to Pickett. So when Van Buren did come in, they ran some plays. Defensively, here's what we saw defensively in 11-on-11. They ran the ball, and they kept running stick routes and mesh routes. Thank you, Blake Baker, for being prepared for it. They kept throwing the ball underneath. A.J. Hussey was coming down and lighting dudes up. He was getting there along with Perk. So good on it. Second team really couldn't run the ball at all. They were kind of making sure that they weren't going to get there in run game periods. And they look good. So all a good day. All right. Let me get to a quick break. I see a lot of comments. We will come back and give some observations and opinions. And Brian Kelly talks today to the media, some things that he said. So we'll get to that. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Guys, I want to talk to you about our good friends over the Drake Williams Law Firm and Drake Title Company. Are you facing tough times due to an injury from a car accident, navigating the complexities of divorce, or purchasing a new home? At the Drake Williams Law Firm and Drake Title Company, they understand the challenges you're going through, and they are here to help. The lawyer team of Ernie Drake III, Ryan J. Williams, and Summer Vignair, along with Morgan Daniels, have the experience and proven track record to give you that peace of mind. Give them a call today at 985-386-7600. That's 985-386-7600 to schedule a free consultation at their brand new office located in historic downtown Ponchatoula. They're also doing a special, the AYS special. If you're refinancing or closing on a home in Southeast Louisiana, request the Drake Title Company to handle your closing. If you mention Blake Ruffino and AYS, you're going to receive a $400 discount on title fees. Again, give them a call at 985-386-7600. Let them know that Blake Ruffino sent you on. Hey, Southwest Louisiana, are you ready to gear up for your next outdoor adventure or tackle that next big job on the farm? Then head on over to Henderson Tractors, Boats, and Power Sports. At Henderson and Lake Charles, they've got everything you need under one massive 30,000 square foot indoor showroom. Kubota tractors and mowers to power through the toughest tasks. Polaris off-road bikes and side-by-sides to conquer any trail. And tracker boats with brands like Ranger, Nitro, Sun Tracker, and Regency pontoons for a day out on the water. Whether you're a farmer or a hunter or just someone who loves the great outdoors, Henderson has what you need to get the job done and have fun while doing it. Browse their new and used inventory over at their website, hendersonimplement.com. That's hendersonimplement.com. Or give them a call today at 337-436-4366. That's 337-436-4366. Or go see them over in Lake Charles on the corner of East McNee Street and Highway 14. Remember, if you need a tractor, go to Henderson. Need a boat? Go to Henderson. Or if you need an ATV or side-by-side, you know where to go. Henderson. Just let them know that your good friend Blake Ruffino over at AYS sent you on. Guys, you might know my good friend Carol Foss and all the great service that he provides over at State Farm. He is your good neighbor after all. But did you know State Farm has surprisingly great rates as well? Along with the great neighbor service, State Farm agent Carol Foss has surprisingly great rates for everyone inside the state of Louisiana. So call him today at 985-395-4300, 985-395-4300 for all of those surprisingly great rates on auto, home, and life insurance needs. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there, and individual premiums will vary by customer. All applicants subject to the State Farm underwriting requirements. Brian Kelly met with the media today. Let's run through some of this really quickly before I get to observations and opinions. We talked about this. Garrett Nussmeier was on a pitch count. He went 5 straight days. We let him do some stuff today, but they're managing his workload. Okay, so what? Michael Van Buren looked incredible. He talked about that as well. We'll get to that in observations and opinions. Brian Kelly's biggest comment of the day, the JT Lindsay stuff. I know Gilbo was trying to get an answer out of him in reference to that. Guys, Brian Kelly doesn't condone bringing firearms on campus. I mean, I don't know why he's having to answer that. I mean, and Brian Kelly basically said about the JT situation, you can't surround your people with dumbasses. And that's just the overall truth. If that's allegedly what they did, because what do I know? Biggest thing Brian Kelly said today was about his offensive line comment. Now, what we are going to do here is you and I are going to listen to the conversation that Brian Kelly had today in reference to his offensive line. Now, in this conversation and in this situation, Brian Kelly had a lot to say about his offensive line and how, as he continues to say, how bullish he is on them. But here's LSU head coach Brian Kelly when it comes to his offensive line and what he thinks.
Yeah, I mean, I've coached, for a long time. I've got a lot of guys in the NFL, a lot of first-round draft picks. I think I got a pretty good eye for what an offensive line looks like. This group is going to be really good. We don't have a Will Campbell, right? He's the 5th pick in the draft. But we have 5 guys that play well together. And it starts with the center. Our center position and Braylon Moore kind of sets up the rest of the group for success. His combination work is outstanding. His recognition of fronts, getting us to be an elite offensive line. If you have a center that can kind of set the stage for that, it allows everything else to kind of fall into place, and it's starting to fall into place quite nicely.
That is LSU head coach Brian Kelly talking about his offensive line and what he believes. I do agree with him about the center position and situation. I do agree that your center sets up your run game and can get you to where that you need to go. Brian Kelly is very, as he has said, very bullish about his offensive line. Says, I've been around a lot of first-round draft picks. I've been around a lot of offensive lines, and I think this one's going to be a good one. There are a couple of things that could be happening here in what he's saying. Either number one, he is trying to gain confidence with his offensive line. He knows that there's going to be some struggles, and he's just trying to build their confidence. He's trying to go out there and tell his team, look, man, I got confidence for you to go into Clemson and win. Maybe that's what he's doing. But this man knows more about football than I do. And I know what I've seen. What I have humbly seen has been some days where you've been highly inconsistent and you can't run the football. Now, Brian Kelly may be in a situation where he's been out there every day. He does know more than me that this offensive line is really good. As of right now, which I swear to God, I hope I'm wrong. Please, dear God, let me be wrong. I don't agree with what he's saying. I agree that he knows more than me. He's seen more than me. He's out there every day clearly. He's going through it more than me. He's watching the film more than me. All of that, I get it. I haven't seen enough consistency where I could run out there and say that statement. I think they're going to be really good. Well, really good to me means that they're going to go out there and consistently run for 150 yards. They're not going to give up many sacks. And that you're going to be able to run the football at a very good rate. I'm not there for myself in every situation. What I am there for, they're just not running the ball consistently enough. I hope that I'm wrong. And listen, Brian Kelly has been bullish on a lot of things that he's hit on. You know, in 2023, he thought that it was the best he said this in fall camp. Go back and listen to it. He said he thought that it was the best wide receiving room that he's ever had. It was. It was. I don't know, but you had 2 first-round draft picks in that room. And he said, I don't have no Will Campbells, but we're going to be good. Okay, well, you got a very staunch test in week 1. I'm not as confident as him on it. I hope that what has happened here is in the days that we have not been out there, they really have run the ball. When they're not showing us everything, they've been out there running the football at a good rate. If that is the case, great. Great. I hope that comes to fruition. I really do. Because if it does, guys, we're going to win. We're going to win a lot of football games. Let me say it like this. If I knew that you would be a top 60 rushing unit, hell, top 50 rushing unit, I'm just going to go with 60. If I knew that you were a top 60 unit and you went from 108 to, let's just say, 58th in the country, 60th in the country, I'm picking you to beat Clemson. It's as simple as that. That's where I am, because I know you can run for 140 to 150 yards a game. I'm there with you. I'm there. Look, you might not be great, but it means you stayed with it enough. You had some explosive runs in there, and you did some really good things. Clemson prep. They are prepping for Clemson. A question was asked today in reference to getting this early in prep for Clemson or for a week 1 game. And Brian Kelly just said, look, I feel good that we've done a lot of things early and we're prepping. We're not – I don't think that they did a lot of stuff. Today was the most stuff that I saw them do. They did, going back on it, maybe Tuesday when they were in full pads was a Clemson thing. But, guys, I mean, why not go through it? I mean, get a bigger jump on it. Now, if they come out there and do something you're not expecting, then all this time's for naught. I think that they have a pretty confident idea of what they're doing there. Patrick Payton. Brian Kelly was asked on PP. He's not going to – if he wants to play every down and play in the NFL, he better get with it because he's going to come in situational downs, but he's not a 3-down edge right now. We'll see. And they might be limiting him for all we know. But they've been throwing him out there. He's been okay. Observation and opinions. Not going to stay long on this. I thought Michael Van Buren's had a solid week, a very solid week. I thought he had a really good day today. Since Garrett's gone down, Michael Van Buren's looked really good. I'm not just saying that because Garrett went down or anything like that, and because he didn't really go down. No, he's looked really good. And Brian Kelly said that today. I know that there were a lot of media members out there today who said, damn, I mean, he's slinging this thing around pretty good. Michael Van Buren had a really good day. He had a really good week. Starting to feel a little bit more confidence now that Michael Van Buren's been in this offense for a little while now. Maybe has he found something? Like, hey, man, I know where this guy's going now. I know this guy, where he's going to be. He looked good. He made some really, really big throws today. Good for him. I do feel like, for me, I'm getting an understanding of the starters. I think on 3rd down, defensively, you're going to have different edges than 1st down, but I feel pretty confident of what your defensive line is going to be at the current moment. In some formation or some situations, yes, all 4 edges may be out there. So you're going to see 12, you're going to see 44, 19, 6. Because I know that sounds like a lot, but when you're getting into a game and you can't rotate in and out because Clemson's doing a hurry-up offense, it's going to be some form of Relaford, Pyburn, Don McKinley, Bernard, Jacoby and Guillory, Ahmad Bro at max. I mean, you have a pretty good idea of what you're going to run there. You know what you have at linebacker with Weeks, the Weeks brothers, and then if one of them go down, looks like Devon Keys is coming in, or Ty Singleton. At safety, A.J. Halsey took the starting job and has not looked back. Javian Toviano is not running with the ones at all right now. It is number 13, and he has separated himself. He's done really good in tackle periods. He's come down and tackled Caden Durham. He's come down and knocked people's heads off. I mean, he came down and knocked a couple days ago in 7-on-7. He knocked Bauer Sharp's block off. Knocked his ever-living block off. I don't think this dude, he's going at you. He's your starting strong safety, and I think you rotate it free. So getting the understanding of what you're doing. Outside of wide receiver, to some extent, you know what you are on offense. You have a pretty good idea. Guys, it's pretty locked down on what you're going to see here. Nothing really changed. The only thing I'd say along the offensive line, Paul Mabing has been rotating a lot with DJ Chester. A lot with DJ Chester. So 65 has been getting his chance. Can he make the most of it will be the big question. Gus, Harold Perkins continues to make plays. I thought this week that he did a lot of really good things in the run game, coming off the edge. Like I said on the interview with Pollock today, I was asked by David Pollock today in reference to Harold Perkins, and he knew, and he called me out on it, which good on him, but he called me out on trying to limit expectations, especially when it revolves Harold Perkins. And yes, I am. I am being reserved on Harold Perkins. If you cut me open, or if you injected me with truth serum and you said, Blake, tell me your God's honest opinion about Harold Perkins, I would say, I don't know if he hadn't had the best camp defensively, not named Bernard Gooden. Shit. I got multiple interceptions on Garrett, or I got an interception on Garrett. I got multiple passes defended against Garrett. And I think we're getting to Garrett next. It's been his best camp, which we'll talk about. Harold Perkins has gotten sacks, interceptions. He's knocked balls, had some pause, batted the ball away a couple of times. I mean, he's looked good. He's looked good. And quite frankly, I hope that Harold Perkins is seen on Saturday, August the 30th, because they're going to send him off that edge. And I'm just going to tell you, and I asked Pollock this, go watch the interview. I was like, hey, you played edge in college in the NFL. 9 times out of 10, unless an offensive line, what I say to y'all, I said to David Pollock, who agreed, by the way. He agreed. Either the offensive line is going to slide protect, which most of them don't really do anymore. They're going to slide protect to Perk if he's coming off the edge, or they do something special with Perk, which is still somewhat of a slide if he starts coming off that edge, or he's going to be up against tight ends and running backs, and a lot of times it might be a running back. And I'm just going to tell you, as God is my witness, there is not a lot of running backs outside of one that I can think about in my head that plays in the SEC that you play against that's going to come down on pass pro and want to get in Harold Perkins shit. Now, that person's Logan Diggs. Logan Diggs was really good in pass pro. He would knock somebody's block off. Go turn on the film. Perk out there making plays, y'all. And if that's what you would do if you injected me with truth serum. The reason I don't come out here as much and talk about it is because, quite honestly, I don't want to be in a situation where here we go again with Perk. What are we doing? And I know that y'all don't want to hear it. I know y'all don't want to hear it. And don't tell me you do. Don't tell me you do. He's had a hell of a camp. Special teams. I'm bullish on your special teams from a punt block, punt return, kick return. Watch them be complete ass. I like it. I like it a lot. I hope Ahmad Anon can go and block a punt. I want LSU to block a punt this year. And I'm not talking about no G5 team either. I want them to block a punt against Clemson. Special teams, keep your eyes on it. Last but not least, Garrett Nussmeier. Guys, there have been situations in the last 4 years where we've seen Garrett grow from a red-shirted freshman, and we've seen him always be a gunslinger. We've seen him make elite throws. We've seen him do some of the craziest things imaginable when it comes to how great his talent can be. The concerns that I've always had, and for what it's worth, still in a much more slight advantage right now. I'm not saying that the Nuss turnover bug has left what I believe from me, because he can get that bug and turn the ball over in a critical situation. This fall camp of 2025, from the periods and all of the action that these eyes have seen, hadn't been out there for all of it. I've been to fall camp practice every day that they have allowed. Haven't missed a day. I have not been out there the days where clearly they don't allow me to be there. This is by far, not remotely close, the best camp that Garrett Nussmeier has had. The turnovers have come down. He has stepped up in the pocket and been big. He has run on crucial downs. He has hit check downs. He has done so many things that I got to admit I have not seen him do as what a normal, mature quarterback, when you see massive amounts of growth, look like. He's got it right now. I don't know if he steps up in the pocket against Clemson. I don't know if he bails out too soon. I don't know if he reverts back to some of the things he did a year ago. The quarterback that I've seen has stood tall in that pocket and taken some shots, but made some outright hellish throws. Now, I've seen a quarterback, for what it's worth, that when a play breaks down and he doesn't have a read, unless it's 3rd and long, and even some 3rd and longs, I've seen him tuck that rock and go get yards and get down and get out of bounds. You want to see that level of maturity rise. And I think that whether you want to like it or not, whether you want to talk about it or not, the God's honest truth is this season and its expectations have revolved around, man, we think we have a Heisman Trophy level quarterback. And you very well may. You very well may. If that is the case, and we get into November, early December, and number 13's in that podium in New York, we're all going to sit here and say that there were signs that we continued to see through fall camp. I know I will bring it up because I am not of the belief that you do not show signs in fall camp or even spring camp for that matter. I am just not the believer of, oh man, it's camp, chill out. I don't believe in that. Guys, there was a reason we talked about Jaden Malik and Brian the way that we did. There's a reason you talked about Burrow, Chase, and Jefferson the way that you did. It's because you know when you're seeing something special. And there's starting to become a time and moment in certain situations with the throws that Garrett's made, him running, him stepping up in the pocket, him making some outright outrageous throws for touchdowns that you only see NFL dudes make. He's done it. So, guys, now you go into your last week of camp. The next time that you and I will speak, we will probably more than likely be doing another practice. And in that practice, what you and I will talk about is, guys, this is the last week that we get to see him, and then we're in game week. I'm just not a believer that you don't show elite level shit the first time you take the field. There are people that are going to talk about it, and then we have the grace of Brian Kelly to go out there and experience it. Guys, the God's honest truth on episode 1222, I think Garrett, this has been by far his best camp. And those turnovers have come down. And quite frankly, probably the biggest thing that Garrett could have grown in during the offseason was decision-making, maturing as a quarterback. Guys, I'm starting to feel extremely confident that you're there. You can only be out there so much to see what he's done to say, man, it looks like he's Guys, at this time last year, he had double-digit interceptions in fall. Perk, I think the only interception the media has seen that he has thrown has come from Harold Perkins. The only other one, and we were talking about this in the media today, the only other one that Nuss threw that we saw was a check down to Jawan Johnson. It went off his hands, bopped up. Mansour Delane's running. He dives. He catches it. They pick it. That ain't on Garrett Nussmeier. You get what I'm saying? One true pick that I've seen, it came on 7-on-7. The decisions have been really good. They have been really good. I think the last thing we will say here, for me, I really think that him going through his progressions and knowing where guys are going to be is vastly expanded. Vastly. I do feel like that there were some times last year Garrett just did not know the route that the guy was running. I fully believe that because he'd never look at him, and when he would go to that progression, he would look somewhere and nobody's there, and then he'd look around a little bit to kind of find him, and then there we are. Then he throws. Timing was off. But, man, the bottom line remains, and I mean this, I think it's been his best camp. Can he translate that into the season? Can he cut those turnovers down? That's a whole question that we got to ask ourselves here. But if you're asking me, I've loved what I've seen. I've loved the growth. It's been really nice to see. Really, really nice to see. All right. We're out of here. We'll see y'all on Monday. I'm going to hang out with my kids. Peace.